looks like we're live already. Oh, that's cool. All right, I popped on here this morning just to do like a little. I told you guys that I would check in with what books I am reading, and I'll have to change the title of this. Wonder if I can change it while I'm doing this. I don't think so. Um, let's see here. We'll do book update, and let's see if we can change this. All right, book reading, and see if that we can change that. Okay, so it looks like I was able to change it. This is the book that I'm reading. This was one of those books that had been recommended. It was kind of like I'm not sure, but I've seen it pop up time and time again. It's called Meditations, and it's by Marcus Aurelius. You might have remember the name Marcus Aurelius from the movie Gladiator. He was Russell Crowe played Marcus Aurelius in the movie Gladiator, and that movie is just such an epic movie. So that's what if you haven't heard of Marcus Aurelius. He succeeded his adopted father as Emperor of Rome in AD 161. So it says that Meditations remains one of the greatest works of spiritual and ethical reflections ever written. With a profound understanding of human behavior, Marcus provides insights, wisdom, and practical guidance on everything from living in the world to coping with adversity to interacting with others. So, It is one of those books that you probably wouldn't like it right away, just because of this is coming from a Roman emperor's standpoint. But some of his reflections on life are golden. So why I like to read books like this is because it really challenges your current way of thinking. Now, just think, this was written how many years ago? Back in AD. That's crazy, right? So this was before, I believe this was in AD 161. So what this was before Christ? Yeah, because AD is AD, and then I believe that's correct. I always get confused with AD and BC, but anyway, Marcus Aurelius really had an interesting outlook on life, and I'm just going to share. I'm almost done. I'm almost done with the book, and towards the middle of it, sometimes I kind of lost a little bit of interest. I know that's really kind of almost blasphemous to say, but the way that he thinks and the way that the book is laid out, it kind of has like numbers, and then it's like his thoughts on certain subjects, and it's not like a book per se. So he really talks a lot about being of service. Back in the Roman times, like he really talks about community, being of service. The mind was highly revered back in the day. So let's share a little bit about this. So he says here, when someone seems to have injured you, ask yourself, but how can I be sure? And in any case, keep in mind that he's already been tried and convicted by himself. And it has like scratching your own eyes out. So I think that's funny to point out that even the wisdom that he had back then is still true to this day. How many of us try and convict ourselves of things and don't give ourselves any room to change or grow because of our own limitations that we put on ourselves? Here's another one. That to expect a bad person not to harm others is like expecting fig trees not to secrete juice, babies not to cry, horses not to neigh, the inevitable not to happen. So, he's speaking on the nature of things here. And that's what I really like about a lot of these reflections. He says, what else could they do with that sort of character? If you're still angry, then get to work on that. So he's saying if you're still angry at all these things, then you have a lot of work to do. I really like that he is very, he has a very truthful and honest way of looking at life and his character. Number 17, if it's not right, don't do it. Just plain and simple. If it's not true, don't say it. Let your intention be less than or greater than those two things. So if it's not right, don't do it. So it means don't do any less than that. And if it's not true, don't say it. And, do things that are greater than that. So it's just like a really philosophical outlook. At all times, look at the thing itself, the thing behind the appearance, and unpack it by analysis. The cause, the substance, its purpose, and the length of time it exists. Number 19. It's time you realized that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. What's in my thoughts at this moment? Fear, jealousy, desire, feelings like that. So he's saying here, he's not telling you, but he's hinting at it's time that you realize that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. So what's he talking at? What's he talking about? What's he referencing? It's time you realize that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than anything in the outside world that affects you and makes you dance like a puppet. So ultimately, he's saying that you have the power within you, that you hold the power. Number 20, to undertake nothing at random or without purpose for any reason but the common good. Time and time again, Marcus Aurelius talks about the common good. And I believe that he came to some type of universal wisdom that equates what is good for the common people, what is good for community, is also good for you. So he's saying, don't do anything at random or without a purpose and for any other reason but the common good. So this is like, it's just like that Stoic philosophy that really, it makes you think. It makes you really think. And I just like this one. Don't undertake anything. So don't take on anything just randomly or without a really good purpose. It's like, don't waste your time doing frivolous things. And then number 2, for any reason but the common good. So you could say for any reason but the common good. You could say for any reason but for community, but for love, but for family, right? You can equate the common good with a couple other things, but I really like that. Time and time again throughout this book, he talks about the common good, right? He's really about like service and about this common good. And it really, talks about the character, not only of him, but of how these ethics were instilled in him in Rome during that time. Number 21, these are all reflections. So each number is like a different reflection. He says, that before long you'll be no one and nowhere. Like all the things you see now, all the people now living. So before long, you'll be no one and you'll be nowhere. It's that whole philosophy to really contemplate your death, because the more that we realize that this moment is a gift, the more that we value life, right? So he's saying, like, all the things that you see now, all the people now living, you'll be gone, right? Someday you'll be gone. This is one of my favorite lines here in the book. It says, everything's destiny is to change, to be transformed, to perish, so that new things can be born. This one sentence, if I could summarize spiritual awakening, this is it. This is really it. Everything's destiny is to change. Your destiny is to change. That's what spiritual awakening and the process of transformation is all about. It's all about change. It's all about transforming your current substance into a new thing. And that's like what alchemy really talks about. To perish, to die to oneself, is basically having the ego death, to die to oneself so that new things can be born. The new thing that can be born is the Holy Spirit, or the Spirit of God, or the new man, the new self, however you want to look at this. But that is essentially what we are doing. Our destiny is to change, to be transformed, to perish, so that new things can be born. And really, if you look at this from a visionary perspective, from a much greater perspective, this really gets back to the common good. If you look at ideas and you look at all these things that have come before us in history, ideas and belief systems, they all have a destiny, right? And those belief systems and all of these things, they transform over time, and then they die so that new things can be born. Metaphysically, philosophically, just like Rome, right? The rise and fall of Rome is very symbolic to this sentence. And if you look, you will see that all things follow this pattern. And Marcus Aurelius was just an amazing philosophical thinker. And back then, in Rome, there were a lot of great thinkers during that time that really had people thinking like this. Number 22's reflection, he says, it's all in how you perceive it. You're in control. You can dispense with misperception at will, like rounding the point. Serenity, total calm, safe anchorage. So he's saying here that you're in total control, that you perceive it, and you can dispense your misperception at will. Now, I mean, some of us can't do that. We don't have enough, discernment and enough self-reflection to be able to do that in the moment. But he's getting at the fact that we still have this great thing within us, and that's our mind, right? It's one of the greatest tools that we have. Number 23, self-reflection. I'll read a few more of these, and then I'll just end this book reading for today. It says, a given action that stops when it's supposed to is none the worse for stopping, nor the person engaged in it either. So too with the succession of actions we call life. If it ends when it's supposed to, it's none the worse for that. And the person who comes to the end of the line has no cause for complaint. The time and stopping point are set by nature, of our nature, in some cases, death from old age, or nature as a whole, whose parts, shifting and changing, constantly renew the world and keep it on schedule. Nothing that benefits all things can be ugly or out of place. The end of life is not an evil. It doesn't disgrace us. Why should we be ashamed of an involuntary act that injures no one? It's a good thing, scheduled by the world, promoting it, promoted by it. This is how we become godlike, following God's path and reason's goals. 24. 3 things essential at all times. Your own actions, that they're not arbitrary or different from what abstract justice would do. External events, that they happen randomly or by design. You can't complain about chance. You can't argue with providence. What all things are like, from the planting of the seed to the quickening of life, and from its quickening to its relinquishment, where the parts came from and where they return to. That if you were suddenly lifted up and could see life and its variety from a vast height, and at the same time all the things around you in the sky and beyond it, you would see how pointless it is, and no matter how often you saw it, it would be the same life forms, the same lifespan. Arrogance. ... About this. Throw out your misperceptions and you'll be fine. And who's stopping you from throwing them out? Number 26. To be angry at something means you've forgotten that everything that happens is natural, that the responsibility is theirs, not yours. This is awesome. I love this. To be angry at something means that you have forgotten, okay? That everything that happens is natural. Meaning, like, if you're angry, it's a natural emotion, right? That everything that happens is natural. This is my favorite part. That the responsibility is theirs, not yours. So it's taking ownership of being angry. It's like, okay, if the responsibility is theirs, not yours. So when someone's angry and they are expressing their anger, we must remember that that's not our anger, right? That the responsibility is on them. And Marcus is saying that they are supposed to be in control of themselves and their anger, and that if they are expressing their anger, it's natural. So to not take that personally, and to understand that it's up to you to control your emotions, to control your response to that anger. And further, that whatever happens has always happened and always will, and is happening at this very moment everywhere. Just like this. What links one human being to all humans? Not blood or birth, but mind. And that an individual's mind is God and of God. That nothing belongs to anyone. Children, body, life itself, all of them come from that same source. That it's all how you choose to see things. That the present is all we have to live in or to lose. That is where I'll end this, just this a little bit of sharing of wisdom out of this book. He says that the present is all we have to live in or to lose. So all we truly have is this present moment. I know that you've probably heard this time and time again in the spiritual community. It's one of those sayings that, you know, even myself, sometimes I get sick of hearing it. But we must remember that the present moment truly is where life happens. A lot of us have been programmed by society to always be projecting into the future, or we are always thinking about the past. And that really robs us of the present moment. And this is so true. I'm not saying that we can't have goals, but really try to focus on what you do have right in front of you, right now, in the life that you're living now, okay? Not always projecting like, oh, I'm not happy yet because I'm not have the job, or I'm not happy yet because I didn't get this promotion, or I didn't get this house, or I didn't get this thing, right? None of that will ever make you truly happy. Happiness comes from the present moment. And this is one of those secrets that, people don't talk about. No amount of money and things and material things and this moment that we're chasing, right? The moment that we think that we will make us happy is never going to come, because as soon as you get to the thing that you were waiting for, you have been programmed right into the same pattern, that once you get what you desire, you will never be happy. Once you get the thing that you have been waiting for to get, once it comes, you're right on to the next thing. That's how the ego works. That's how desire, kind of, sometimes when they say desire of the heart in the Bible, I believe this is what they're kind of referring to. It's not saying that the heart is bad, that there's anything wrong with it, but when they say about the desires of the heart, sometimes we can desire things, and once we get them, we're right on to the next thing. So just be careful with living in the future. Be careful with clinging to the past, right? Try to come into the present moment. Look what's right in front of you. Make the best of every day that you have. Carpe diem, as they say. Seize the day. Once again, if you like some of the concepts that came out of this book, those were just some that I read recently that really hit home towards the end of the book. Like I said, the whole book's not like this, but it's a bathroom read. It's one of those books that you can't just blow through. It's nice to put in the bathroom, right? While you're going to the bathroom, read a few of his reflections, and just, it makes you think about life. It makes you question what's really important in your life. So that's the book for today, Meditations, Marcus Aurelius. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see, it might have been too early in the morning for many people. And then we're going to do an energy update for the full moon, I believe coming up here on the 15th or the 16th. So look out for that in the next couple days. I'm going to drop an energy update. As always, you guys have a great day, and keep changing, keep moving forward. All right, peace.